Hey, what's happening? Before we jump into the show, I wanted to see if you had any music on a hard drive. You have a band, you have a project, and you want to self-release your own music. Well, there's an easy way to do it. You can go to distrokid.com/VIP/hyphenate and go get your music up on all the streamers. You keep 100% of your royalties, and you can get 30% off by using this code. It's a great, easy way to get your music up on the streamers and share it with your fans, your friends, your family, your mom, your dog, everybody. Everyone wants to hear it. But go to distrokid.com/VIP/hyphenate, HYPHENATE, and send me the link. I want to hear it too. Send your mom the link. Send your dog the link. They all want to hear it too.
And during that tour in Europe, somewhere maybe a month in, my roommate in Chicago said like, "Oh, I'm going to be moving out, so I won't be here when you get back." And then I told those guys, and they're like, "Come back to Chicago. We'll start a new band together." So I moved back to Chicago, and yeah, we started a band called Make Believe.
Hello, welcome to Hyphenate. I am your host, Randy Randall. Thanks so much for joining me here. Today is our show for Thursday, May 29th. May is almost gone. We're getting ready to welcome June. And I have a very special guest, very close friend, Mr. Bobby Burg is on the show today. I have known Bobby for a very long time, and through enduring these tours, through doing the tours and enduring the tours, doing and enduring many long drives with Bobby in the van. Bobby has been the third member, the roadie extraordinaire, the driver of No Age on a lot of our Midwest and East Coast runs. So we've had a lot of time in the van where we've giggled uncontrollably at many dumb jokes and listened to many of the same songs. So I think this interview reflects some of that time spent giggling in the van for hours upon end and, you know, getting no sleep or getting bad sleep or getting weird sleep, and then just picking yourself up and jumping in the van and driving for more hours. But yeah, I first probably met Bobby when he was playing in Joan of Arc, and they played at Dean's house in Los Angeles when there was a hella Joan of Arc tour in the early aughts. That would have been the first time I met Bobby, but I think we got to be better friends in our many trips to Chicago, and he helped set up shows. He was always friends with everybody and always had, you know, just a great attitude, and always was willing to lend a hand and jump in. And I mean, we kept a whole back line of No Age gear and merch in his basement for many years. He has since relocated to the Big Apple from the Windy City, but Bobby will always be a part of Chicago, or my Chicago experience. And yeah, it was great. We had a really fun conversation. I'm happy to share the conversation we had together with you, the audience, and everyone else. You can write me hyphenatehalftime@gmail.com. You can also find me on the Instagrams at Randy S. Randall. Let me know what you're up to, what the summer plans are looking like. We got some pretty good kids' summer camps going on here. I'm sure I'll be checking in with Aaron Farley on the half times every Monday and letting you guys all know how the summer's looking. So far, we got a little bit of fishing in over this last weekend. As a vegan, I enjoy fishing for the sole purpose of sitting by bodies of water. I have an 11-year-old son who also likes to sit by bodies of water. I think he probably wants to catch the fish, but I really have no idea what I'm doing. So he and I just go out there with the poles and the chairs and some snacks, and just kind of sit and hang out by the water. We see some fish, but we've yet to catch anything. But it's a good time. It's a good way to pass a few hours. So we'll see. We said we've declared this summer will be the summer of fishing. So I will keep everybody up to date on how our fishing, the vegan fishing experiment is going. I mean, I know there's a lot of sport fishing and catch and release, and that still seems pretty torturous for the poor fish. And I don't know. Again, I think it's more just time hanging outside and the snacks. We have no shortage of snacks in our little Yeti backpack cooler we bring with us. So that's probably how our summer's going to go. I'm imagining maybe a little bit of soccer, a little bit of traveling. But I hope you're doing well. Write me. Let me know what your summer plans are. I want to hear what's going on in your neck of the woods. But yeah, without further ado, here is a conversation with the one and only Mr. Bobby Burg. Robert Burg, welcome to Hyphenate. How are you, friend?
Hi, Randy. How are you?
Good. It's so good. It's so good to talk to you. Good to see you. We have spent a lot of time traveling the great continent of the United States of America.
That's right.
We have been to probably, I don't know, what would you say, 30 states? I think in all.
Oh, maybe.
Contiguous.
Maybe.
I think. Have you been to all the states?
I haven't been to the West Coast with you guys.
Oh.
I saw you guys in Texas, I think, a couple times.
That was the furthest west? Well, I saw you when you guys played LA.
But never west.
Okay, but we always do the West Coast on our own.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I see. Okay.
So California, Texas, and the East Coast.
There's not that many states. There's not that many states out here.
Oh, maybe like 13 or, I don't know, 15, 17.
I heard a good comedian joke. I forget who it was that said it, but it said, like, if you look at the map of America, it looks like they started from left to right. You know, like, okay, yep, here's some big states right here. Okay, yep, oh, no, we got to fit them in here. Hold on, Rhode Island, Delaware, shit, New Hampshire. Let's cram it in there. Okay, now we got them all 50 together. Went the other way, but man,
they're all good. Like evenly proportioned on the left, and then they get all
There's some that are just squares. New Mexico, like,
yeah.
Have you done that Four Corners thing? It was like New Mexico, Colorado. What's the other one?
Never,
Arizona, Nevada, maybe? You can like be in all 4 states at once.
I've heard about that. Like you go there with your family and you all hold hands, like from each standing in a different state.
I think so.
Did you do it?
I'm trying to. I don't know if I've ever really done it. I feel like I've seen The Simpsons do it, and I have a hard time.
Yeah.
Figuring out my life from The Simpsons' life at this point. I think I've watched so much of it. I've gotten so old. My brain is starting to determine. My 11-year-old now has also become obsessed with The Simpsons, and that's probably about the age when I really got into it. I think I knew him as a kid, like had to do the Bartman tape and all this stuff. But then I think the obsession started around then. But I was trying to explain it to him because it was like the Simpsons were syndicated. So you'd have like at least 2 a day for 5 days a week. And then one more on a Sunday, the new one on a Sunday. So that's like what, like 11 episodes?
Yeah. So like you get
for 52 weeks or whatever.
You know what I mean? You get like 3 years worth in like 100 days.
Yeah. And just watch them over and over again from like whatever that was, like probably from 90 to 99. Probably had like close to 10 years of just this like absurd
Would you tape them?
Oh yeah, I would tape the new ones on Sunday because the Sunday block was good. That was that Fox thing of like Married with Children, The Simpsons, and then they would always try out some other new show like Herman's Head. Or something else would be always on those Sunday blocks. But it was mostly Married with Children and Simpsons. Those are the ones I would always tape. Or they'd have the Michael Jackson black or white music video premiere.
Oh, yeah. Right. I remember that.
The extended cut where he beats up the car at the end like Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? Is this art? I don't know what this
is.
So crazy. Do you know the Simpsons Michael Jackson episode is not on streaming anymore?
Oh, wow.
I think it was taken down by the producers of The Simpsons.
It's questionable.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to Simpsons Talk.
All right. Yeah.
So, Bobby, what's going on? You recently relocated to New York. How are things?
They're pretty good. Just settling in, trying to make music and help other people do their thing too.
That's awesome. I mostly know you from Chicago, but you're originally from Ohio.
Right, Ohio. Stowe, Ohio, near Akron and Kent. It's like 40 minutes south of Cleveland.
Awesome. What was it like growing up there? How did you first get into music?
Um, uh, well, so my older brother showed me about. Well, I mean, I was into music just because it's music, you know. It
Yeah.
like I think the first record I got or that what I was given was like the Popeye soundtrack.
Oh yes, Harry Nilsson.
You know yeah.
He needs me, and Shelley Duvall. Oh
Yeah,
gosh, that was so good. So sad. Had that like kind of that sort of weird kids thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I like songs were on the radio and stuff like that. Sometimes I liked some of them, but I kind of really got more into music. Like I remember like my brother showing me this like on the way to my grandma's, like putting headphones on me in the back seat, like check this out, and he had like the Master of Puppets tape and the Dag Nasty Can I Say tape, and played me both of them, and I was like, oh, this Dag Nasty was like my favorite thing.
Older brother introducing the world to you.
The older brother, yeah.
Amazing. And then did you get a guitar at that point, or how did you first get going?
I wanted a guitar lesson, and my parents let the dude that worked at the music shop to like, well, he should really start on piano.
Oh,
and
no.
I was like, I don't want to play piano.
You can't play Master of Puppets on piano.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably, I'm sure that you can,
yeah.
I'm sure they do now, but like,
that was illegal back then.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely could not play Dag Nasty on piano. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe Master of Puppets. Maybe Black Album has some piano on it.
So it kind of like fizzled out at that point. I mean, I had like a SK1 sampling keyboard that I would make like, burping sounds in slow motion and stuff like that. Like or like have them play Beethoven or whatever. Like, yeah.
That's most of my morning driving the kids to school. They have the fart version of every song, or the minion version of it, or the dog version of it, or the thing. I spend a lot of time. I'm very familiar with the sampling. It's much better. It's higher bit rate now. It's a lot less crunchy than those SK1s. I just saw Perfect Circuit. That synth shop, the online thing. They had a blog story about the history of the SK1. Sort of
really?
SK1, yeah.
Oh, I want to check that out.
That my buddy Kevin had one of those, and when I was in high school, I had a geometry class, and I was always the kind of kid when they asked you to do a presentation, or we got to present your research. I always try to figure out, like, can I make it a movie? Can I make it a song? Can I make it something different? So I'm not just me reading a piece of paper with or one of those cardboard trifold things behind you. What do they call those? Poster board. So I remember I made a song about all the theorems in geometry, like the other angles of a right angle add up to 90 degrees. But then I would sample myself on the SK1, like other angles, and somehow I think the teacher let that pass. I don't even know if you could understand it. Like, I bought news. I think it kind of had content. It was almost educational, or it was close to it, but it was also just me just fucking around.
It's like a high enthusiasm level.
Yes. Yeah. Well, he's very passionate. I don't know if he understands any of the work, but he has a lot of heart. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
You haven't forgotten it, too.
It made an impact on me. I don't remember. Well, I guess I don't remember the theorems. Something about a hypotenuse and a right angle were in there. For sure. Cool. Okay, so you had one of those, and then did you get a recording device?
That was kind of like, a friend let me borrow a guitar, a neighbor, and like first they showed me like a power chord. Oh yeah. Probably like right when Nirvana came out. And then I was like, all of a sudden, like, I was like all into punk and stuff. So I was like, oh, wait, I can play. Like, you only play you only have to play 2 strings to play guitar. Like, I can do this. Like,
yes,
I can play all the Ramones songs now. And like, it was pretty cool. Like, anyway, I borrowed it and maybe I started a band with some kids in high school and was just the singer or something. We made like a tape on a boombox.
That's awesome.
And then I eventually bought this guitar off of a dude. And
what kind of guitar was it?
Well, I don't remember which kind, but I know like the print on it was like kind of like Darth Maul looking. Like it was like black with like red, like looked like molten underneath it or something, you know, like it's kind of a metal guitar.
Like a knockoff BC Rich or Dean or something.
I think it was like $45 or something.
Perfect.
And then things, that was probably the fall. And then that Christmas, my brother-in-law got my dad a karaoke machine that at the time was like, it had like the 1/4-inch inputs on the front, like 2 of them. And then it had 2 tape decks in it. One that you would play the karaoke from, and the other was like you could record yourself playing. So I just thought, I can use that thing as an amp. So I don't need an amp if I buy this guitar. Sure, maybe I don't know if it was, I don't know the exact order, but like it was a speaker. It looked like an amp. It sounded like one. So and then after messing around with that, very quickly I started, it was so intuitive just to hit record on a tape to like, and then I discovered that like if I moved the tape from the record side to the playback side and then used a new tape and I played along on the same string to it with this certain like on the certain dots.
Yeah.
That it always sounded good. But it only worked if I only played one string at a time. It's because I didn't know there was tuning.
Oh no. Like, yeah.
So like
it was in tune with itself.
It was each string was in tune with itself. So that's why it worked. I was like, I thought I discovered magic or something. I don't know, but
magic, yeah.
So I made these like layered, just kind of,
amazing. Glenn Branca, like the abstract melodies.
Yep. Yeah.
You just do it 100 times and then this kind of
because that you could go back and I was like, this is better than a 4-track. This is an infinity track.
Yeah. That's amazing. You were like a young Les Paul and Mary Ford, just bouncing tracks.
Yeah. And then naturally the next step was to like hook it up to a mixer, record drums with the friends that I played in the band with, and then add to it from there. So
mix down the couple of mics you had onto like one part of the tape, and then amazing.
So
you were off to the races.
Yeah, probably made a tape over spring break called Spring Broken.
Nice.
We passed around the high school.
That's cool. But I never could find friends that really liked what I was doing. I would definitely make tapes and try to give them to a few friends, and I don't think anybody ever listened to them. Was yours socially acceptable at the time?
I think, there was stuff that they were into that I could tolerate.
Okay. So,
but it wasn't exactly, they didn't really share a lot of the same taste as me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why it's always hard. It's like you do all this work to make your thing, and then you're like, here, you want to share it. That's always the next logical step of making something. Yeah. I'd often just play it for my mom at home, and she'd go, oh, okay.
Like, you would make tapes of you playing or like mixtapes?
Yeah. No, of me playing. Yeah. Like whatever I came up with. I came up with a song. Check it out. I sampled this like anti-smoking record, and then played this like weird, droney out of tune guitar over it. Like, doesn't that sound cool? Like, sure.
Sounds cool.
It sounded cool to me. No, it was the 90s.
Yeah.
It was the thing. I had a gas station jacket on. It was cool.
Oh yeah. My brother worked at the BP too, so mine was legit.
Oh man, mine was thrifted. Mine was probably like a girl's thrifted one.
Yeah.
I think the buttons were on the zippers on the wrong side, but I thought it looked cool.
Yeah.
It was the style of the time.
For sure.
Yeah, you tie an onion around your belt.
An onion?
No, that was another Simpsons reference. Grandpa Simpson would always talk about it. We used to tie an onion around our belt. It was the style of the time. I don't know why. My brain. I've had too much coffee this morning. I recently got an espresso machine for the house, and it's been getting me in trouble. I've been having too much fun with it.
Yeah, we got one right here.
Oh boy, it's good.
Stuff.
You know Clinton Woodside?
Yeah,
he has his own coffee beans now. He makes his own beans.
Oh yeah,
and I signed up for the subscription.
Yeah, we have a subscription as well.
Oh my god.
Yeah, been signed up pretty early on when he started. I was like, oh, that's really cool. The subscription, like.
Yeah. I had him on the show around Christmas time and or just before Christmas, and I was like, this sounds like a fun treat for ourselves. My wife likes coffee, and then I'm just instantly like, ooh, wait a second, it's become so much fun. Yeah. I've been watching like weird Italian guys like talk about how to make espresso on YouTube. I think I'm like just tricks and tips to like make the best espresso pull. It's this whole art like and craft of it.
The grind for the amount of time you grind it, like you count. Like,
you got to get the grind, and then I bought like the little thing with like all the little needles attached to it, and you like break up all the clumps inside the basket. And I had to get a special basket that has like the mesh on the bottom. And
like yours has like the pressure and all that. Like it's like a proper.
That doesn't look like a Vespa. I like. Okay. That's the next one I get. We're gonna have to start to like. Yeah, I gotta take it to a mechanic down in Little Italy and get a. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars yet to be spent on the coffees that you can see, but I appreciate it more now. I never quite understood why those little espressos you'd get in Europe, it's like €1 an espresso, ciao, and everyone stands around and slams it and smokes a cigarette, and you're like, that can't be hard to do. And now I've come to find out it's incredibly impressive. It's hard to do. To make to make Italian gas station espressos are very difficult to make in America.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the water. It's the soil. I don't know how they do it.
Could be.
Okay. So now you're recording high school, Ohio. What happens next?
Then kind of, maybe played like a school talent show and like a show in my parents' basement.
Oh, awesome.
And then that band kind of stopped and ended up starting another band like a couple years later.
Did that band have any recordings? The first band?
Yeah, there's like tapes of it, but it's not like. Yeah. So that first one is recorded on the Singalodian. The second on the
Singalodian. That's such a good name.
That's what it was called. Yeah. And it also had a speed control on it. So like if the karaoke song was like in a key that you couldn't reach, you could like adjust it. Like
very speed. This is great. Yeah.
So there's lots of like slowed down vocals and sped up vocals That's
amazing.
And then it was like recording on a 4-track using some of the same techniques, but now you can control it in the future. Like,
I remember committing to the bounce every time.
Yeah. Cause the committing to the bounce was like, you had to get like the earlier tracks had to have more treble. And then like later you could
cause the like, generation loss.
Degrade.
So make these real tinny first attempts. Wow. But again, very Beatles. It's not very far off from some of these classic records. You would go on later, I'm sure, to buy plugins that would emulate all of these sounds.
Yeah.
And then,
on to like, Jawa Sandcrawler was the band in like 94.
What?
Star Wars core.
I didn't know this. Why have we never talked about this of all the years?
I don't know.
I feel like you never heard of Jawa Sandcrawler.
There was a guitar solo that was like the Star Wars theme.
I've tried that so many times with Dean, and he's like, "No, you can't do it." I was like, "Come on!" man. Come on. He's like, that sounds way too, or he'll just call out anything that sounds relatively like or like major melodic things. Like, nope, it sounds like Star Wars. I see what you're trying to do. It's like, I don't know what, I don't know what on earth you're talking about. Meanwhile, I'm standing in a Star Wars t-shirt with Star Wars posters and Star Wars toys all over the room. Like, no, it wasn't me. It's not Star Wars. It's not Star Wars. Amazing. My friends in high school made me a shirt that just said Wookiee noise on it. It was like iron on letters, which again, awesome. In hindsight would have been a good band name as well. Wookiee noise.
Yeah, so good.
But Jawa Sandcrawler.
An effect pedal or something.
Yeah, it's the Wookiee noise.
Yeah.
we have a couple talking books that have the how to speak Wookiee.
Oh man, have you ever, or what do you get, a Wookiee for Christmas? You know that song?
No, that sounds good.
When he already has a comb.
Oh. Classic.
Some Star Wars Christmas album.
I've been made aware that there is like a derogatory term for like hippies in England. They're called wooks because they're kind of like Wookiee people, like hairy people that like go to festivals and things. They're kind of like an unshaven British person. They're called wooks. I was like, oh, okay, like dreadlocks and things, bandolier. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so Jawa Sandcrawler. That sounds amazing. What was that band like?
It was kind of like, I mean, I guess we liked Jawbreaker a lot.
Oh, okay.
At the time, I mean, the band was just, it was like, most of it was like drop D tuning, but it was pretty like, just like whatever we could manage to play. Punk band, anything goes. Like no real direction or focus.
Yeah,
just
as long as you started
and
stopped and kind of got it together.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
that's awesome.
And then that band sort of dissolved, and I started playing like a solo in Kent. So we had like canceled a show that was already booked, so I played it as like the Burg Machines, it was called at that time.
Nice.
So I made a bunch of Burg Machines albums or tapes.
Yeah.
And was still making them when I moved to Chicago for school.
Wow. Okay, so out of Jawa Sandcrawler comes the Burg Machines. And that's just you. And there's drum machines involved, or what was the instrumentation of some of these?
Oh, in Burg Machines, it was, like instrumentation was just like guitar, bass, drums, and two singing in Jawa. And the Burg Machines, like the first tape was, remember I recorded it in one night in my bedroom. I recorded all on a dictaphone. It was right when I was like, I had known about a couple Daniel Johnston songs earlier from like bands like the Dead Milkmen covering him, but I hadn't heard the actual like "Hi, how are you" and stuff like that until like right at this time. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna make an album tonight, like, and I'm just gonna go upstairs and record it, like so.
He makes it seem so easy. Like
I know,
right? Not do it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first Burg Machines album, and I would, for like live accompaniment, I remember I would go and make a tape in my basement or wherever. I remember like using machines and getting drills out and making weird sounds, and I would just have a tape that I played in the background to like, that was totally not really anything to do with the music, and I don't know why I thought it was cooler. Yeah, I mean it was kind of cool, like so it could even be people talking, or it's just something else, like, so it's not just a guy with a guitar singing, you know, like
anything
try to make it somehow special. Yeah, hide behind. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I've done this a lot myself. Still do this.
Yeah.
But wait, you glossed over something. You said you're singing in Jawaese. Was there?
I didn't say. No.
Did you say?
We tried to use English.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I didn't know if I misunderstood that. Okay, so you're not trying to sing.
No, I think I shortened it Jawa to Jawa. I called it Jawa.
Okay. You just called the.
I shortened the band to that.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay. So
then I probably was on to the next sentence after that. Sorry.
Okay. Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay. I was like, that'd be so good.
Jawaiese.
I had sorry, you said.
Oh, like I named my my van, one of my first vans, Mala, after the
wife of Chewbacca from the Christmas.
And then,
of course, everyone knows that.
And then the next van was called Lumpy. After
that's stinky, itchy. This is my van called Itchy.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. What was the? And I remember in the phase of ringtones, or like when you could program your phone to make sounds, you could download. I downloaded the Houdini. Every time my phone would ring, it was that, or I'd set my alarm to that in the morning. So that was one of my favorite sounds of the sounds of the Star Wars. There's a great book that's all about the sound effects in Star Wars. It's like a Ben Burt sort of book.
Oh, cool.
And that comes with like an accompanied I don't know if there's buttons on it or if it's a CD or something, but I've heard, yeah. And they kind of he explains how he makes them and everything. It's insane.
Awesome.
I mean, one of them
layering.
And slowing things down. There was like the guide wires, like next to a big pole, like a high wire pole. Like you would hit those, and those would make like the blaster sounds, right? I mean, you know all this stuff. I'm talking.
That's exactly why I found like those like walkie talkies with like spring antennas.
Oh yeah,
that are covered in plastic. Mm-hmm. There's like growing up in Ohio, the houses are like they were built on these like metal I-beams that would go across the whole house. And if you put your ear up to that and hit those walkie-talkie antenna, it made the laser noise.
Whoa.
But it's so funny how it's like, that's kind of like physically really similar to the pole being the
guide wire,
I-beam and the high wire being the antenna thing.
Yeah. Anyway. It's incredible. Laser. I saw another one of these things where it was what film was it? It was something in the 80s. Oh, why am I spacing on it? But anyway, they redid the MGM logo. It was something, I don't know. I'll come back. Oh, and I think it was Poltergeist, the first Poltergeist. The sound designer on that had recorded a bunch of like cats and animals and zoo things to make the sounds for the monster in the closet. But then they went to put it in all the temp tracks, and they had the old MGM lion, little thing in the beginning. And he's like, oh, while I'm at it, I have all this stuff. I'll just redub this over. But he said that it wasn't the lion. Didn't sound good, but if you had a tiger slow down, it sounded better. So it's really the MGM, and then MGM just kept it. I think he's updated it for different digital like audio formats. But
like
he just
a slow motion tiger.
Yeah, there you go. Good, another good band name.
Yeah,
slow motion tiger.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that was my story on those. But yeah, I always thought as a kid it'd be really fun to have that kind of job, like sound designer for film and stuff. And it's always in the back of my head. But again, like everything in Hollywood, I think the more I've learned, the less I've been interested in knowing about, or just the overall sort of Hollywoodness of everything. Like, everyone's just coked up and shitty, even on like
it's like a union or something too. It's like you can't really just do what you want.
Yeah. It's more like you just have to hang out with shitty people all day. It's kind of the bigger detractor of all things Hollywood. You're like, that seems like an easy job. You're like, oh wait, but they all suck. Like, it'd be cool if these jobs weren't full of people that just were power tripping on like nothing. Mm-hmm. Everyone shits on the PA, and then everyone shits on the AD, and everyone shits on it's this like layer. It's a kind of weird militaristic sort of like class system in Hollywood of everything. I'm just like, anytime I've been around anything like that, like this is the cool creative thing where everything happens and everyone's really, you guys make beautiful art, and then you just realize it's all divided into a caste system, and literally like it's designed to like stimulate one person's ego, and there's like 400 people all there to like bend over and like just eat shit all day long to make one person's ego work. And you're like, oh, that's not worth it. If you're the one guy, I guess it's great.
Yeah.
If you're the guy whose ego gets to be blow jobbed all day long, that's great. But everybody else has to sit around doing it. You're like,
and they're like putting each other down. It's just like, that's like so lame. Like,
I don't know.
That
was my experience, at least. You know what I mean? Maybe it's different. Maybe I was just in the wrong place on the wrong Hollywood shoots, but that was always sort of the feeling I got. It was like, it's a lot of years of eating shit. And you're like, I don't think I want to do that. It's cool. I'll just go to the movies. I don't want to make or the best part is like all of this happens and it's like, this is for like Joe Montana's like car dealership or something. You're like, the fuck was like, why did everybody
this like this is even commercial? Like,
yeah, this is for a very impressive Starburst yogurt infused jelly bean. Like, but we just worked for like 72 hours straight with no sleep and no one's eaten and everyone's like, that guy's bleeding to death over there. Like, yeah, well, hey, that's how, this is how you make, this was how GameStop commercials are made, man. No one's going to buy those video games this year if you don't make this thing or something. It's like, oh God, this is the worst. Get me off of this train. Because you try to pull back to any kind of larger macro focus and like, this is a terrible like Eric Roberts movie that everyone thinks is treating like it's the most serious thing, life and death. And then you watch it and you're like, this is Eric Roberts is chasing a gremlin around like a hand puppet on a wire. Like, it looks like shit and no one's going to see it. And everybody got paid way less than minimum wage and just killed themselves to make this movie. It's okay. No, not to shun Eric Roberts. Please, Eric Roberts, come on the show. Crazy.
Okay.
Okay. So then you move to Chicago and you have Burg Machines. And then
I joined a band that was originally from Ohio called Beauty Pageant. And so it like made it like my first 7-inch, second and third 7-inch, and an LP in that band. And did like slight touring, like played like Toronto, and we lived right by Fireside Bowl in Chicago. And I had like a recording studio in my attic and would like, if a band was from out of town or something, like we sometimes offered if they needed a place to stay or something. That's how we ended up with a show in Toronto or something like that. And then we did like another tour, and well, it wasn't really a tour. It was like we drove to like Fort Collins, Colorado. We got there. The promoter said like they forgot about the show. And then
that's a long fucking drive.
And then Colorado. We went to, but I've never been like really out west before.
Yeah, but that's like 2 days. That's like 48 hours of driving from Chicago to get to Colorado.
Yeah, maybe like 20, but yeah, maybe 48. Like, but and then the next show was in like with an old friend that I met at school in Chicago that had moved to Olympia. So we played in Olympia and a show in Portland too, also.
Amazing.
Then made maybe one more 7-inch, and then
this is self-released 7 inches.
That band ended. All self-released. Yeah. And I guess that band ended around like summer 1999. And then that's when I started doing Love of Everything, which is I'm still doing, or like the idea was like, I was kind of like, I had worked so hard in Beauty Pageant. I was like, I didn't want to like say like, not like, I found like the less we did, the more opportunities were coming our way at that time. So it's like sad to like have like worked on it for the past 5 years or 4 years and had it. And then like all of a sudden have like nothing. But like I still have like so many. I ended up getting so much out of it in the end. And like,
yeah, but it's hard.
All the connections you make. But at the time, like I don't know. Then I started doing like the Love of Everything, which was just like my forever name, I guess.
That's your long running solo project.
Yeah.
While you've been in other bands, you've kind of always kept that going as the sort of the moniker, and other people play in that project as well from time to time or whenever
It's a lot of people like from like the first lineup had like Drew Wilson, who worked at the record store Reckless, and Matt Clark, who was at the time like bass player in Joan of Arc, band that I eventually became the bass player of. Like, but after that, like couple years after that.
Yeah. So I mean, but now you're in Chicago in the late '90s, early aughts, and that's sort of it's a hotbed of time and creative activity and all kinds of things. There was sort of, there's a long history of music, obviously, in Chicago. But
yeah, I was doing. I just finished school and I stayed there doing recording in my attic, and like. So I would record like a band, like it would be like $100 a day. And like, usually they would do like 8 or 9 songs, and it was a lot of punk bands from the suburbs. And a couple like experimental bands and things like that, Drew, who worked at the record shop, would introduce me to. So probably like the coolest thing I got to do there were like demos for this band, Storm and Stress.
Oh yeah.
And like even like part of like their second album, I recorded a little bit of.
That's cool. That was Ian from Don Cab.
Yeah, and Kevin Shea, who later. So then, a little bit after that, I moved to Brooklyn because Kevin from Storm and Stress had moved here, and he was like, okay. Come on out here, like it's awesome, like I'll play with you, and I was like, okay. And then I moved from Chicago to Brooklyn in like April of 2001.
Whoa. Wild. And nothing else eventful would go on in 2001 in New York.
No.
That was the biggest event to happen in 2001 in New York because Bobby moved there.
I remember we played at like North 6 September 10th that year.
Whoa. North 6 was
it became like Rough
the Vice
Trade,
offices?
Music Hall of Williamsburg.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yep.
But it was like smaller at the time.
Yeah. Wow. Wild.
We did a couple tours in that with that band.
What was that band called?
Love of Everything.
Oh, that was just Love of Everything. Okay.
Yeah, with that lineup.
I see.
So like it would be them, or when I went back to Chicago, it would be like this band Pinebender that was Matt Clark that I had played with previous. And yeah, like people would sit in with it because it's kind of just me anyway. So I always liked having like the show be like something, I don't know, improvised or something, a new member at least, like, so it's not the same old thing. Like,
keep it fresh. Well, it's kind of like the fall theory.
Yeah.
The Love of Everything could be Bobby and your grandma, but it's still,
that's right.
Still, as long as Bobby's in it, it's still Love of Everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. I remember, what was the band that Kevin was in with BJ? They had like a
Putting on the Ritz.
Putting on the Ritz, yes.
Yeah.
We played with them at the gallery that was like behind Death by Audio. There was like Death by Audio almost kind of like ran that whole block, and like on one side was Death by Audio and the other side was
it
like
Glasslands?
Glasslands. There we go. But that whole thing, and
then
was
like very,
very early aughts kind of vibe.
Yeah. I was playing a lot at this place. So it's funny, like when I moved here and was doing Love of Everything with Kevin and Ohal, the promoter here was this, or that doing a few shows was this guy, Todd P, who had the beauty pageant had played at his house in Portland on the tour.
Whoa.
2 years before. So I started doing like a lot of shows with him as promoter. So
yeah, Todd P sort of was the big cheese in Brooklyn of the.
There was a place Yeah, the place was called Above the Right Bank that we used to play at. I don't know. I
In
think it was
Brooklyn?
like South 4th in Kent or something. Probably like right by where Glasslands was.
Okay. Yeah, we did a lot of Todd P shows. That was sort of our main sort of thing in New York for a lot of years. He put on many fun,
lots of great shows.
Yeah,
the show paper was such a cool service. Like,
yeah, man, yeah. He really had it all kind of dialed in. And then he had the venue, and then the practice spaces off the venue. So he was kind of figuring out he knew the angles of whatever that independent music showbiz sort of stuff before anyone else did. I think he had kind of an idea of how to dial it in. But it was also cool, but then also put on a lot of really great shows and offered opportunities for, touring bands and local bands to kind of, it was the right place, right time thing in a way too, but he really made something where we played a parking lot next to a sewer, refinery.
A refinery?
Or I don't know. There was a place where they processed sewage, and then there was an outdoor covered tent covered parking lot that I think the workers by day would eat at.
Oh, is this in the Gowanus Canal area?
Maybe. Yeah. It just smelled really bad, and we played outside in a place that smelled really bad. But this was around when labels were interested in our band, and so we were like, oh, we're playing when's the next time we're playing in New York? Like, oh, we're playing this cool Todd P show. Like, oh, cool, we're definitely coming to that. We're sending all of our A&R guys to that show. That'll be the coolest thing. And I think there was a lot of
they had to go wash their clothes.
Wow, okay, we're really good. This band's really really punk. They're really independent, and I think we had fun with that feeling of well, fuck you guys, just come to this is the show we're playing. I don't know, this is who we are as a band. We're not really we're sorry we're not playing whatever there was in the city, Max's, or I don't know what you played in, or where shit bands played in Manhattan, but they weren't booking us, that's for sure. Yeah, that's fun.
They should have been. Maybe not.
The cool place in Manhattan that was fun was that the John Zorn one. It was Tonic. That was cool. That really felt and then Knitting Factory obviously was the other cool kind of place to play in the city part of that time. But Tonic was fun. I remember having good shows there, and it really felt whoa, we're playing New York City. Can't believe it.
Yeah, it's so cool. I remember I might still have the ticket, but I remember I first played in New York when I moved here at the Knitting Factory, the Alternate Theater, which is the 10 to 15 capacity room they have in the basement.
The dressing room, the bathroom they converted into a show space. That's wild.
It was pretty cool. I played with I think maybe both Love Everything played, and I played in an ensemble with Kevin Shea and 10 other people or something like that. It was
wild.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. And the other place, Tonic, I remember at one point, they had a record shop above it, and I went in there and was this dude had a Daniel Johnson book, which I had never seen before. And I started talking to this guy that was working there, and he said he was his manager or something. And he was I'm about to call him. You want to talk to him? And I was no, I don't know. I just didn't feel right.
It's a strange request also. A strange offer.
But anyway, I ended up getting I remember him having he pulled out all these Daniel Johnson drawings. He's the color ones are $25. The black and white are 10. Gnarly. So I got a black and white one. I remember skateboarding with it home, rolled up and then framing it. But
that's incredible. Do you still have it?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's huge.
But I saw not a whole lot of shows at Tonic, but it was a very cool place.
Yeah. For some reason, Dean figured out how to squeak us in there on those early days, where it sort of made sense for us to be there somehow.
Yeah.
But yeah, we played the first Knitting Factory only once, where we opened for Wrangler Brutes and Casual Dots. They were cool. Our LA friends, and it was that first US tour we did. And at that, we were pretty rough. It was the first tour and everything. We were kind of sleeping on floors and in the van and things. But then playing that show, it felt very like, I remember I have a Polaroid of us. This was the band before No Age, and I have a Polaroid of all of us like brushing our teeth in the knitting factory like bathroom. It was like the first time we got to brush our teeth with like running water or something. It felt like we were like weird floor people at that point. Like, we were more floor than humans. And it was like, wow, the knitting factory has running water and it's hot. This is great. Look at us go. We're made it the big time. And then I also have the most uncomfortable picture ever of me standing next to Guy Picciotto from Fugazi. I asked if he'd take a picture. I only had like a Polaroid camera. And I took it. I look like I'm about to cry or like shit my pants. He's just standing there, just like annoyed, like what the fuck. And I was like, oh god, oh no, this is happening. Why? This is so bad. I had to go for it.
I'm pretty sure I saw him at a show at Union Pool, like a couple months ago.
Oh, cool.
Made me feel like I was at the right show, but he was like the only person standing in front of me. Like, it was not a huge audience, so
that's cool.
Pretty cool.
Did he remind you of the kid that looked scared to take a picture with him 20 years ago? 25 years ago? I was like, still think about this kid all the time. Do you know that guy? Oh, it's horrible. It's so embarrassing. I still think about him every day and bring it up to everyone.
He got up on stage, made an announcement. Like,
does anybody know this kid? It's been 25 years. He's got this one picture where he looks really uncomfortable, and I think about it all the time. I'm sure he never thinks about it. It's like, oh no, he doesn't remember this. So New York at that time was obviously a huge sort of exploding point as well. That was a big time. That was the LCD sound system. I don't know who else. What the other things were of that? Liars and things like that. Like,
like
how was it being?
Like TV on the radio.
Oh,
like
right,
I worked at this coffee shop with like Kevin played in the band with Kip Malone as well, and he introduced me to him, and he's like, "Oh, I can help you get a job here." And so
that's cool.
I worked at this place near all the practice spaces in Williamsburg. That was
see all the
really good,
cool, future.
Nice place to work at the time.
Yeah, that's amazing. What did you see? Skeleton Crew with Tunde, and as part of Star Wars now. It's huge.
I saw the first 2 or so episodes. It was super cool.
It's worth going through the whole thing if you can.
I gotta see the whole thing.
We did it as a family. It was the perfect.
It's
the
very
perfect content for the age of our kids, but it's something. But I could appreciate it as well. Yeah, it was like if E.T., and Goonies were on Star Wars planets.
Yeah,
I was like, cool. But it was so fun to see Tunde in there. I was like, it's amazing. He did it.
I gotta finish that.
Yeah, he kind of pops up from little parts, but if anything, it's fun to see.
Yeah,
to see that part of it. Cool. Well, then so what happens then from New York?
Well, a couple like East Coast Love of Everything tours, and then on one of these tours in Chicago, like Tim from Joan of Arc saw Love of Everything and saw that like this other band was the backing band. And so he was doing Owls at the time, but he was like asked if Love of Everything wanted to go on tour opening for him, but with the condition that he could drum. And like the other people in the band could be they're like, the thing about tour that sucks is like, you don't play enough music. So they wanted to like play more. So,
so they became part of the Owls backing band or
then like Owls broke up and the tour turned into Joan of Arc, but
I see.
So
he sort of he absorbed your band. He copped your crew.
Yeah.
He jacked your style.
I don't know. It wasn't like
it's like, hey Bobby, let me hold on to that band of yours. So no, I'll give it back to you. I'll give it back to you later, brother. You guys.
So it went on like a 10-day, or we did like the US. This is 2003. So I went on the whole Joan of Arc tour as like a guitar tech, and like they were like said like if I could figure out how to play anything and I didn't have to tune, go ahead and add like percussion or keyboard or whatever. So think that West Coast, like Hella was opening. That's when we played at Dean's house on that.
Oh, right.
tour.
Oh, yeah, with Hella. Yes. Oh, my God. That was nuts.
And then like we stopped in Chicago for one day and then Love Everything practiced once and then started the East Coast section. So like touring with them from, start like I still lived in New York at that time. But by the end of this month-long tour, they had like a 7-week Europe tour. And then it was like, why don't you come to Europe with us after that momentum of like getting along and like filling out the songs with the percussion and like, the songs are all in different tunings. So if they have someone to do tunings between songs, they could play it potentially in any order they wanted.
So you were doing opening and sitting in both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, amazing. Yeah. That's a hard gig to pass up.
Yeah. So, and then we went to Europe and this time like Owen was opening solo on acoustic guitar. He also played like bass in Joan of Arc at that time. And he didn't feel like playing that much. And we all had been playing Love of Everything. So he would always like day of the show, he would ask the promoter, like, can my friend Bobby open for 15 minutes? Like we all play in the band with him. And then I'll play 15 minutes and then John, and they would always say yes. So I did kind of like a surprise European Love of Everything tour with that.
Amazing.
And during that tour in Europe, somewhere maybe a month in, so this is like 2 months or more, we're like together. My roommate in Chicago said like, "Oh, I'm gonna be moving out, so I won't be here when you get back." And then I told those guys, and they're like, "Come back to Chicago. We'll start a new band together." And so
just made sense.
I moved back to Chicago and we started a band called Make Believe. And
you wrote a song about it. It said, "When I'm back in Chicago, I feel it."
Yeah.
It became and it got used on TikTok. You didn't know what TikTok was, but you knew 20 years in the future that somebody from a TV show would encapsulate that feeling of coming back to Chicago in a pop song. Amazing. That's incredible. And it's fun. And then now you're back in Chicago, and I bet you're like in with the crew, and it was different than first time kind of being there.
Yeah, for solo. For sure. I was
like the whole music scene. You're because you've toured everywhere and you've done it. You were part of the scene, so to speak. Amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then life just keeps going. Then you got a van.
I got a van. We did like, and then Make Believe started touring a lot, and recording and making albums, and Joan of Arc was still making albums, and Love Everything was still making albums. So we did like a US tour that was Love of Everything, Make Believe, and Joan of Arc. That was pretty exhausting, like playing 3 times actually.
That's a lot.
That was like a little, and like I think the promoters were like pretty bummed when like they realized like they weren't like advertising to like the pool of 3 bands. It's all the same one.
The same fans were just the one thing. Yeah.
So it's not like
you didn't have a local hero
this band's
to
gonna
pull in more audience. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think it. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, it's so hard. Yeah, all of those things. The economics of promoting shows. I think there was some kind of rhyme or reason to it. I noticed in the last like 10 years, like all the tours have names. I never thought to name a tour. If I gun to my head, I don't think I could do it.
Oh yeah, we had.
I don't know why. I feel like it's like a strange marketing thing. Like you can advertise the name of the tour. And it's like, wasn't that just what the name of the band is for? Why does the band has a name, but now does the tour need a name?
And we had a tour. The Need New Body Make Believe Hella tour we called More is More in 2004.
That's great.
But it was more of like a catchphrase. No, it wasn't like advertised anywhere. It was just like that's what we called it. Like,
I guess we did a tour with Deer Hunter and Dan Deacon in No Age, and it was called like the No Deech tour or the No Deech Hunters. Here's something.
Yeah.
And Louisa from CSS drew a crazy drawing of like Octomom with all of our faces like on bellies. Like, so it looked like, so there was like a woman who was pregnant with all of Deer Hunter, No Age, and Dan Deacon.
I love that. That's so cool.
Oh god, it was frightening. I remember that. And then that tour was fun too because we each picked our own like solo opener for that run, and so we brought Kyle, whose band was called Kyle Parker's band was called Need New Body. No, that's not what it was called. No, you just said that. What was his band? It's called Infinite Body. God,
right.
my brain. And then Dan brought Ed Schrader, who's really cool. And then what did the Deer Hunter guys brought? Like that White Rainbow guy.
Oh, okay.
And then homie from Future Music, or no, oh my god, my brain's toasted. Future Islands. Yeah, he was like the merch person.
Huh.
It was quite a tour.
Hilarious.
If only, people go back in a time machine, Back to the Future style.
I know, man.
Like what a rousing night of music.
I know, so cool. I think did you play at Logan Square Auditorium on that one?
Oh yeah, yep. That was just after. Yeah, I dislocated my shoulder in Milwaukee right before Lollapalooza.
Yeah, I helped you guys with that.
Right. Yeah,
I remember having to walk across this field, like carry the gear across all this grass. It's like seriously, like it was.
Oh Lord!
I think Scotty was there.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, my shoulder was like all kind of bandaged up. I had this like weird immobilizer. I had to sit on stage and kind of like slow.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Gingerly, like pluck out the songs.
Yeah.
I think I took a few pain pills before that. Just like, all right, let's go for it. See what happens.
Yeah.
I don't remember much after that. Somehow, kind of went into a hole.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember Tool played, and they had to walk through a tunnel. Like no one could look at Tool backstage. Tool demanded no one look at them. They had like one of those like ET kind of like medical hazmat tunnels from their trailer to the stage. No one could look at Tool.
Yeah, I remember like someone saying like this one like Danzig show where he like tried to cause a riot in Austin. Like he had it so like no one could watch from the sides of the stage.
Oh,
and like this kind of tunnel thing that was like the production assistant person thought like, or the production person, stage person thought it was because like he had like a bald spot and he didn't want anyone to be able to see the back of his head or something.
So he had to walk through a tunnel.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Yeah. I just need some spray paint for his little bald patch. But everyone's so much taller than him though. I mean, that's a hard part of being Danzig and going bald.
Yeah.
You probably should have just got a hat or something.
I know. Right? Like,
yeah. Come on. Yeah.
Talking about.
Come on, Danzig. You could wear a hat. The Danzig hat.
Hair hat.
My favorite Danzig story is when I worked at Amoeba in Hollywood, there was always a rule to like not bother celebrities while they were shopping because you didn't want them to not spend their money there. But once they checked out, once they paid for their records, you could bother them, within reason.
Like you chase them out of the store.
Yeah. Danzig. But I kind of waited. I was stalking Danzig, and as he left, I was trying to create, it probably should have been a podcast, but I didn't know what podcasts were at the time, but I was thinking it was a zine about people who lost and found things. Like what were people's favorite things they found, or, things they were so sad that they lost. And so I was trying to, I don't know. It never materialized, but it was an idea for a zine. And so I asked Danzig if he would want to contribute a story to that. Like, did he ever lose anything that was important to him? I thought that'd be an interesting angle. And he looked at me. He's like, "You mean like skulls and stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah. Did you lose a skull, or did you find a skull? Is that a thing that happens in Danzig's world?" I'm like, "Yes, absolutely. That is the story." He's like, "Okay, I'll think about it." And then he left or something. I was like, "Whoa." I didn't even know if I didn't have his contact info or anything. I didn't know what I was doing. But it's still my favorite Danzig story.
That's amazing.
Well, Bobby, we're coming up on the hour. There's still so much more life and career and stuff to run over. But I mean, what, these days, how do you like people to follow you, or, keep up with everything new that's going on with Love of Everything and everything else?
I'm also working on I've got another band, Aitis band, AITIS band.
God, yeah. Incredible band.
We played together, and we have our fourth album recorded, and hopefully we found a label. It's not like official yet, but I think it's gonna happen. So
coming soon.
Coming soon, and also like love of all of the stuff. I guess I put in on my Instagram. It's Blobby BLOBBY_BLUGR or
Bobby Burg.
RG. Sorry, extra letter in there makes it weird. Like, okay.
Well, and there's an Aitis band has their own handle as well, their own page. What is that one?
Yeah, I think it's Aitis Band. AITIS BAND.
I'll put them in the show notes. So
down below, cool. Yeah,
find it. Yeah, awesome. I can go to the show notes. Amazing. That is so cool. And you're also kind of like the A-team. Like if you're a band on tour and you need a ride.
Oh yeah, if you need a ride, just hit me up. I've got I can carry 7 passengers, and there's like a cargo area with plenty of room for like not like amps and everything, but like all your like pedals and keyboards and guitars and stuff like that.
Cool. So not a full back line, but fly-in rigs. You can transport stuff.
Like I've been driving people from the airport to their hotel or to a gig or something like that. Like just
and that's hard. You know, when you're touring, you don't want to have to like get 2 or 3 different cabs or something or put it together. So
so it's a unique service for the the area.
Well, for New York especially, I mean, it's definitely comes in handy. Or if you're going to go to New York and then, you know, a couple other little drive-ins. There's places that are close enough to New York, but if you got to fly from each one, that could become its own hassle. Flying in New York, you could hit up probably Boston, Providence, Philly, maybe
DC.
Baltimore, DC run there. Yeah, Hartford.
Oh yeah.
You could do
Wallingford.
Ivy League college tour. You know what I mean? If you're a TM out there, a young band who's booked all the coolest East Coast colleges, hit up Bobby and get a ride to each dining hall.
Wow. Can you imagine college shows coming back?
Have they not? I mean, I haven't played a college.
Still have? I
don't know.
Yeah, me neither.
A long time since anybody's asked me to play at a college.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of years. I played a lot of colleges. I was just talking to my wife about that because we're thinking, you know, eventually our kids will go to college, hopefully. And I was thinking about like, I've been to a lot of colleges, probably more than, you know, unless you're involved in some kind of collegiate sports, I guess would be the only other way to like, you know, be
you wouldn't like belong
gone to so many colleges.
You wouldn't even have been allowed on campus without having playing probably.
I would hope not. Yeah. Mostly all we did was yell out the window like, "What's your major?" Like, well, actually, I'm studying poli-sci. Like, nerd. Like we just eventually became Revenge of the Nerd Jocks or something. You know? That was so fun. I remember we snuck into like the food hall at Harvard, and it was some serious like Harry Potter shit. It was like everybody eating at like big tables and like with like ornate carvings on the wall and everything.
Like candelabras.
Yeah, we're floating around. You got a sorting hat. You got to find out what house you had to go to. Those are those early sleeping on the floor days. If you could ever like break onto a college campus, it was usually easy to get food from the food halls. Like we look like students. Back then we looked like students. I think now it'd be harder. Yeah, we'd look like janitors or
professors.
Something. Yeah. Maybe. Maybe we'd have to have our special professor jackets, like corduroy sports coats with patches on the elbows.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, hello. I'm just a professor coming for some pasta.
Or like yarn tie or whatever, like those ties that are.
Oh, the knitted ties. Yeah, those are very important. Yeah. You need those. Awesome. Well, Bobby, I miss you. It's fun. I feel like
I miss you too, Randy.
We've done this for so long. I always tell people probably one of the worst nights of tour was that place we stayed at outside of Boston.
The rat in the wall?
Yeah. The dead rat died in the wall. We got pulled in, left Boston, probably got to this place around like 1 a.m., maybe almost 2 a.m. And then the room they had for us just smelled like something had literally died in the wall. It was just decaying. That's the comfortless inn. Yeah. Uncomfortable inn. And they had a big wedding there that night and they didn't have any other rooms.
That's the only room we have. Like,
yeah. But they did give us half off. So that's nice. We were so tired at that point too. It was really one of those like, what do you do kind of moments.
Yeah.
And you kind of get used to it. That's the scariest part of it. Is you
Yeah.
get used to a bad smell after a while. After like 5 minutes, just like, well,
Did
if
we
I'm
like
tired
light
enough.
something on fire and then like I bet we like lit some
Maybe some incense or some shit. I
paper
don't
or
know.
something on fire and then just like blew it out.
Just lit a match.
Yeah.
I think we lit a dirty diaper
Yeah.
on fire and it just smelled better than that. Like, okay, at least it's just burned human shit. That sounds better than it's rat decay.
Oh, yeah,
and then, but I went to breakfast in the morning. I like had to leave. And then just as soon as like the fresh air hit me, I was like, oh no, we have to get out of there. I was like under the spell of like decay.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that bad. Not that bad. I remember coming back in the room. You guys were still sleeping. I was like, we gotta go. We can't live in this anymore. It's killing us.
Yeah.
That was one of the of all the years of touring. I think that's the only time that's ever really happened.
Where you're like, I got to get out of here. Like,
well, I guess there was some got to get out of here moments, but just the bad smell. It's probably the worst smelling room ever that you could actually, because that's the thing is like, it wasn't like the whole thing was just like covered in mold and like dog feces or blood. It's like the room itself was relatively clean. It was just such a horrible smell.
Yeah.
So it was that fine line. There's places where you're just like, I just can't stay here. This is just disgusting or dangerous or just,
probably dangerous.
Yeah. But I'm saying, but the rat one was like on the line of like, okay, this for the next 6 hours, I could technically recharge my batteries here and take a shower and leave, which is all you really need. But, yeah, I know. I remember we were somewhere, just I think outside of Tacoma, and we stayed at this like really shitty motel, and like the doors were open. It's like we're going like the doors of the other like hotel rooms were open. You just see like someone in their underwear smoking with the door open. Like, and it's like dark. You just see like the cherry of the cigarette like illuminate the room for a second, and then it'll go dark again. You're like, the fuck is this? This is like, okay, we're just gonna stay next door to this one. There was like knife marks in the door, like from the inside, like looked like someone had stabbed the door with a knife. But the best part was Jennifer from Miko said, it's like, oh, there's like taco stains, like someone spilled taco sauce on the pillow. Oh, you're like, that's not taco sauce. That's not. That became our code word for blood. Anywhere where you'd see like, oh, I think there's some taco sauce on the pillow here, guys. Everybody check the bed. Check the bed for taco sauce stains. Someone who's eating Del Taco in here
and sesame seeds.
Oh God, yeah. That's what. Yeah, I don't miss that part of it, but I kind of do. If I'm being honest, I kind of do miss all that. It's the fun, the roulette wheel of the Russian roulette wheel of where are we going to stay tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, Bobby, be well. I'm glad you're doing good. It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too. Great.
Yep.
Great to see you.
Hopefully our paths will cross again, either in New York or California.
I hope so.
Awesome, man. All right. Good talking. Yes, there he is, Bobby Burg. Go follow him on Instagram at Blobby _Blurg. That's BLOBBYBLURG with an underscore in between them. You know, he's got shows. He's playing shows in New York. He's a busy man. He's got stuff going on. Go follow him and find out all about the cool things he does. Thank you, Bobby, for coming on. I appreciate it. Thank you for always having our back and for always being there. Just supporting everybody. I mean, right. I mean, you hear these stories, and the man is like a Zelig of indie rock and just always there, always eager to help. One of the nicest people you'll ever meet. If you see him out in the world, give him a big hug. Tell him you've listened to Hyphenate and he needs a hug. He will like it. All right, that's going to do it for us. Have a good weekend. Go fishing. Don't catch any fish. Just get a chair. Go sit by a body of water. You could also just do that. You could have a fishing pole and people will leave you alone and won't think you're contemplating suicide. So, I just carry a fishing pole around with you for all purposes. If you need to just sit somewhere quietly near water, and even if you don't have a hook on there or bait or anything, you can just kind of just sit by water. And the fishing pole allows you to do that. It's your passport to sitting quietly near bodies of water, and everyone will leave you alone. If you need that, that's from me. That's from me to you. For people who need more time quietly sitting by bodies of water, just grab a fishing pole. No one will ever talk to you. Let me ask you if anything's biting. You just go, oh, nope, nothing today. It's great. It's great. It's an easy dad conversation. All right. Be well, everyone. See you next week.
So it kind of like fizzled out at that point. I mean, I had like a SK1 sampling keyboard that I would, make like, burping sounds in slow motion and stuff like that.